Bob, how may I help you, sir?
Yes, I was just wondering if I could have the opportunity to speak with you here for about 20 minutes just to get to know a little bit about your business.
Well, I tell you what, I was on my way to another appointment, and I didn't have this on my calendar today. Did you have this scheduled?
No, actually, I didn't have the opportunity to schedule an appointment with you. But
Okay.
I was wondering if I could just have 20 minutes just to learn a little bit about your business because I think I might have some solutions that might be able to help you.
What can you give me an idea what it is that you're here to talk about? Because I'm really busy today.
Yeah, sure. I'm with a company called NetSuite. Just kind of give you a brief overview of what NetSuite does. Think of it as like a giant net that can capture all of your business, put all the different elements in there in one, so that way you can maintain and create better relationships for your client.
Okay, so what type of, is it a technology?
Well, actually, it's a customer relationship management tool. Are
Okay.
you familiar with that at all?
Yeah, I am. Actually, I'm interested in that. I've been doing some discovery right now, and I've looked at a couple other companies in that space, so I think I would probably give you a few minutes. I do have an appointment.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a few minutes if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, thanks a lot.
Just go ahead and have a seat there, make yourself comfortable,
All right, well,
we'll
thank
close
you,
the
Wendell.
door, and we'll see what we can do.
Now, here's one of my business cards.
Okay. It's Bob. Is
Yeah,
it Red or
it's
Reed?
Bob. It's
Red?
Bob. Yep. Can I
Okay.
have a seat here? Is that okay?
Yes, have a seat, please.
Okay, well, thank you very much. You know, it's interesting how I came to stumble upon Strategic Marketing Institute. I just met with Chris over in Zephyr Sail Loft, and he said, you know, you should go over to see this new business that's coming up.
Okay.
And, you know, I was outside and I paused for a second because I saw your brand new building. I said, Strategic Marketing Institute in Sports. And I thought, you know, it sounds like they're really interested in solutions, coming up with solutions for their product. And I thought that NetSuite might be able to work with your business to see if there's a good fit there.
Okay. Do you have any idea what we do at all?
Actually, you know, I saw sports and I was thinking, okay, it's probably along the sports industry, and I saw, you know, strategic. So I'm guessing tying the link between strategic and sports together is probably something.
Yeah.
So could you expand upon that?
Sure. Well, it's kind of like a life dream of mine.
Okay.
My grandmother won a lottery a couple of years ago, and in the way it all fleshed out, she actually granted me $2 million to kind of start a business, and I had worked for a great deal of time in corporate America, and always had a passion for sports, and had hoped to kind of start my own business. So this is kind of the opportunity to launch a new business. But to give you a real brief idea of what we do, we really work in the sports marketing area.
Okay.
We're a fairly new company, and we really are working in the recruiting area of sports in the high school area, working with parents and coaches to get very talented and gifted athletes exposed to college level with the goal to eventually get them a college scholarship. Working with various media methods and the internet, DVDs. We put recruiting DVDs together, kind of much like recruiting that you would probably expect was college sports, only helping people that maybe don't have the financial resources to really spend a lot of money. We have a couple of different options to help them, everything from kind of the silver, gold, and platinum level to help them get their child exposed.
Well, that's great. You know, I played football in high school, and I went through the recruiting process, so I know that can be a very daunting task, and that's really good that you have a company like this that's available for all those students. So, Wendell, I mean, obviously I just stumbled upon your business, and I saw some of the solutions, but could you tell me a little bit about some of your responsibilities here with the company?
Well, I'm basically it.
Okay.
I'm the owner.
Okay.
We've only really been, I guess we say we launched the business in September of last year, roughly 6 months ago.
Okay.
And we're kind of building it as we go, and you saw the building is still somewhat under construction. There's parts of it that look very nice, but we're kind of, you know, building my dream here, and we're in process of still hiring some associates, and we're starting the business off in the Georgia, Florida area, and then kind of have, you know, a vision to go and move on from there.
Okay, so you're primarily just focused on students in Georgia and Florida.
Right now. Right.
Okay. Now, could you tell me a little bit about your structure for your organization? Some of the different ways that you work, about going out there and talking to students. You have outside reps, inside sales reps, or kind of give me an overview.
Yeah, well, if you understand, you know, we're such a new organization. That's kind of what we're building right now. I do have 10 associates in the field, the sales associates that are working with me now. They've just gone through training. And we've really just got them out in the street in the last 90 days. So that's the first part of what we're trying to do and launch here. You know, we obviously have goals to grow and become much larger, but right now we're starting off with 10 just to see if how we need to build it out before we scale it out to larger areas.
Okay, so you say you have 10 associates, and you've only been doing this for about 90 days, so it's still kind of an experimenting process.
Right.
Okay, so how do you currently go about finding about these students that are the gifted athletes, the ones that you want to try to use business for? I mean, what's your process for that?
Well, currently we're working with the high school and even middle school coaches
Okay.
and networking. So some of the sales associates that we've added, we've actually added people who have been former coaches and assistant coaches, have really good networks into the high school sporting area and AAU select teams. If you played football, and you know there's various levels of competition in all sports. I have a history in basketball, and kind of how I got into this. You know, looking at some of my own children. I have 3 sons and other children in sports in the area, and there was some children out there and some kids that were very gifted and talented that never got the exposure, and thus they didn't get college scholarships or even partial scholarships. So that was kind of the brainchild of all this, was actually living through this process the last 15 years and going through the recruiting process as a young adult myself. So I have a passion for that, and that's kind of what's launched it.
Yeah, I mean, the passion you talk about is really interesting, because I think with sports, it's definitely a team effort and trying to bring everyone together. And it seems like your solutions that you talked about, that strategic market institute, pairing, coming up with the right fit for a school and for a student, and to be able to help it, you're making a difference in a lot of people's lives.
Absolutely,
So
that's the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Wendell, you talked a lot about, helping those students out individually, going on calling these reps, and it seems like you're a great networker, but what would you say is your vision for this company? I mean, you're just starting it, so where do you really want it to go?
Well, we kind of have a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan. The 3-year plan really calls for us to move to more of a national footprint. I'm looking at my 3-year vision is 100 reps in the field, supported by the corporate marketing arm here. And then honestly, we all have real big dreams. After 5 years, we're hope to maybe even do something in the franchise area. So this could be thousands of people long term. But we all have to kind of prove the concept and work, and we're a real entrepreneur in this opportunity, and we're learning a lot as we go, so to speak.
Now, Wendell, you just talked about that 5-year plan. I mean, it's great you have a vision, a lot of goals set, but are there a couple things, maybe 2 things that you're just really struggling with, that you just, right now with your business coming up and running, what is it, just 1 or 2 things that, you just wish you could fix or you could change or implement?
Yeah, well, the first is getting the business launched, which is obvious, but the more probably maybe fitting to what you're specifically looking for, it's the way to make this happen, the networking, the relationship management part of it, because if you've been in sports, how much of it is relationship. People know people, and you've got to really find a way to collect all that data. So, since you mentioned you're kind of in the CRM space, I'm really not familiar with your company, so I have to apologize for not knowing much. But I come from a corporate background. I spent 25 years in kind of corporate America and working with some CRM tools and technologies in my past. I had reached out to Oracle, and we previously used a Siebel product, and Oracle supports that now. So I had kind of been engaged in the last 90 days with them, because I have that comfort level with them. So that's one thing that we're looking at that probably would be more fitting in your area. In the other area, it is that marketing plan. It's you may have a great mousetrap, but if nobody knows about your service and your products, then no one's going to beat a path to your door. So we are leveraging the internet with some of that technology that's available, and there's a few other companies that do this on a small scale that we're trying to learn from.
Just to paraphrase, because you threw a lot of great information out there, and one of the things you talk about relationship building is obviously increasing your customer base, having your reps really work with those. You talked about marketing, being able to use successful marketing, be able to make sure that you can transfer that. So when you say you're creating a relationship with a student, or how much would you say you had 3 different levels? I remember you talked about that gold, silver, and bronze package. But how much would you say the average relationship is? When you come on with a student, like what would you average sell that product?
Well, it is kind of a bundle solution, because the net result, you hope to package the product of the athlete to a university. So, the value to me, maybe a couple $1,000s, depending on the level of service. But the value to the parent could be $20,000, $30,000, $100,000 if we can get an individual a full ride or a partial scholarship. So I think to answer your question, it's my value may be smaller than the value of the parent. That's why we hope to create the bandwidth and have hundreds of thousands of students interested in your service. But right now the average would probably be in the $2,000, $2,500 range.
So obviously you talked about $2,000. If I could show you kind of a different couple ways to maybe, if every sales rep you have, maybe increase clients by 2 clients a week, I mean that could result in $20,000. So I talked a little bit about fit to make sure we have a good relationship. And obviously you're not familiar with my product, but I was hoping that I could just have a chance to talk to you, maybe come up with some ways that we might be able to service you.
Okay.
And really quick, we talked about a couple of things, especially that you're concerned about growth. You want to expand. You have that vision where you want to go, where you see your business, and that 5 years down the road, you want to get a franchise tag. Networking, meeting people, establishing those AAU coaches, meeting with them, going out to games, making sure they're all right. Relationships, building those up with those coaches, and then also marketing. Is that correct?
Right.
Wendell, is there anything else that you're just keeping up at night? You're starting this new business, you're just struggling with it. You just wish you could improve besides those 4 things, or
yeah. The last thing would be cash flow.
Okay.
You know, any entrepreneur, you know, I only have so much cash to launch the business, and it's an unbelievable gift and opportunity for me. But you know, I do have to get cash positive.
Okay.
So, you know, with most large company, or excuse me, smaller companies are starting to kind of do what we're doing. It's a cash flow. We've got to be sensitive to that. In fact, some of the other technologies I've looked at that I'm more familiar with, I mean, they're pretty pricey. That scares me a little bit. To lock myself into something that's going to be require a lot of capital for the next few years just to get the organizational infrastructure built.
So you're concerned about ROI, basically.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, especially in these economic times, you want to make sure that if you're spending an investment, that it's going to pay off.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad you actually brought that up, because I just met with a client actually last week, and I've been working with them for over a year, and they said that the ROI on their product since they've been using NetSuite has been over 30%. So is it okay if I show you a little bit about NetSuite, just give you a brief demonstration, so that way maybe you can see the value that we could add potentially to your company?
That's possible, as long as we can do it in a few minutes.
Sure. Okay, Wendell, I want you to think of this, basically, you said you're a basketball player, right? Think of this as kind of like your whole team. You know, you have that sales force of 10 people, just like 5 people on a basketball court. And what's important in basketball? Constant communication, being able to work together, creating those relationships. And there's a lot of times when everybody's on the same page and gelling, you can get shots open. You get people that's going to make that 3, and you're going to have those opportunities. But along the way, sometimes you can stumble, that you won't be able to anticipate what's coming, just like business. And I think the way that this separates it from most systems, like you talked about some different programs, is it helps you maintain that relationship the whole way through. Just like you talked about, is relationships are key to your business and making sure they're successful. So what this does, it's a whole circle approach. So it helps you, find out some of those different athletes, maintain those relationships, and build it all the way through. Because Wendell, it's important to have one client that's savvy.
Right.
But when you can have clients that are building, this is sure a 360-degree view. But think of it as a slinky that's continuously building. Because obviously the best part of marketing is word of mouth, and that's the same as what your business is progressing. So this is an online tool.
Well, let me ask you this before we get real deep into it. Can you give me kind of an idea of what this might cost? Because I've done some research. I've kind of already been talking to another company for almost 90 days, so I was about at the point to make a decision. So the good news is maybe your timing is impeccable, but the bad news is I'm kind of down the river a little way. So if you can kind of give me an idea, maybe what the real benefits of your technology are, and kind of a cost, just give me some ballpark figures.
Well, you said earlier the benefits for that product. You want to see the benefits? Is it okay if I show you those quick benefits first, and then we can go right back to price? So I'm sure to address it.
Okay.
So I'm going to log in right here. Actually, we can get this. And this is an online tool, so you don't ever have to worry about service. So you're concerned about that price.
Right.
You don't have to worry about any maintenance costs, because basically, like, you have a team. Our bench. Think of our team as your bench. It's working for you around the clock, always doing service.
Very good.
So let me log in here real quick. And why this is logging in, I just want to talk to you about a couple of features about NetSuite. Like I said, it's all online, it's all automated, we're constantly updating it. And we also have the ability to train your people around the clock using simulators and online things that are already prepared, so you don't have to worry about all these upfront training costs. So Wendell, if you want to take control here of the mouse for you, I want to show you a couple key things it seems like you're concerned about. So if you scroll over here to reports for me. And think of this dashboard almost as like that basketball, that game plan, that has everything that you've done your recruiting, you've done your processing, you're trying to put it all together, so you have all the information at your fingertips. You talked about relationships, and I want you to click right here by sales order by customer, if that's okay. That one right
It's
there.
right there.
Go down a little bit more, right there, click on that. And as this is loading, this can give you detailed information about each of your clients. Relationships are huge. You need to find out what that student's doing, what they're interested in. So if you can click on Academy System right here, Acme Systems.
So is this going to be a technology that everyone in the company can view, or just the salespeople?
Well, so you're concerned about, making sure. Actually, it's 100% customizable.
Okay.
So as you customize your search, we customize the solutions for exactly what you want. So maybe you want more financial information, you want your reps to see less of that, we can figure it out exactly for you. So as you can see right here, this tells you everything about your client, information, when was the last time you purchased it, calls, getting everyone on that same page. So you think that could help you, especially with your relationship building?
Yeah, I think so. I know that's something that we're working on right now with the 10 associates that we have. We are looking, and they're all asking me for something quickly. That's why the decision, I was looking to make something fairly quickly, because now that they've gone through the training process, they're looking, okay, what do they use? Notepads, or going to use some other tool like an Act, or what are we going to do? So I was.
And it's important that when you talk about this, is updated automatically, so there's no downtime. So some of those programs like DAC, they load onto a CD, it can take a lot of time transferring. This is all today, all at your fingertips. It can help you because you can see where your sales reps are struggling, which ones are performing well, and which ones aren't. So this can give you all that detailed information, what they're doing, order processing, things like that. And one other thing I want to touch upon, because I know you said you're worried about time, is reports. In the report section, it gives you all that information. You mentioned marketing to exactly see, what types of marketing strategies are doing well. This is called lead source analysis. What are some of the different things you're doing with marketing right now?
Well, we're going out to the local high schools and AAUs and organizations where coaches meetings and things like that, and trying to get active in these certain markets that we're already engaged in, just to get our name out.
Okay.
And we're sending out flyers to parents, and it's a lot of kind of grassroots local stuff right now. And the web part's just starting to launch, so we expect that to kind of mushroom.
Okay, great. And obviously you talked about investment, financing, making sure you're spending appropriate money. Right here, this tells you exactly lead source analysis. So you talk about those mailers, you talk about meetings, you can see, okay, what do we do in November? Well, we can see exactly what came back, what's actually bringing back more clients. So that way you can cut down those costs of those added clients.
Okay.
So does that make sense? Can you understand the value in that? Okay, Wendell. Well, obviously you can see right here, it's like that basketball. It's like the basketball game. Having a game plan, getting your whole team on one system, making sure that they're able to work together, communicate effectively, and see it's adding value. We talked a little bit about $2,000, your average client. By using a system like that, you can maintain your relationships better. And I think what you're going to find is you'll be able to increase that ROI, you're going to add more customers, and by making an investment, you're going to be able to see that the dividends will pay off in the long run. And you were concerned about price, I want to make sure I address that. Obviously, your reps are probably active in the community, going out to a lot of things. Do they use BlackBerry, cell phones, things like that?
It depends. A lot of these guys are former coaches too, so they're not real high on the adoption schedule for technology. So that's one of the challenges I have. And they still have the old days of the clipboard.
Okay,
so,
yeah. So they're using different things, and obviously pricing is something that everyone's concerned about. And one of the things that we found is that a lot of companies are even spending about $100 on their cell phone bill a month. And we like to compare our program. It's $129 per seat, per person a month. So you think $100 for cell phones, for text messaging, email, sure, that can do things for you, it can help you communicate, but this can encompass your big picture, your whole business, capture all of it in that one single net, and you can see that it's going to be very successful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So
still the price. We still need
the price.
Yeah, give me an idea, because I have some other companies I'm working with, Salesforce.com and this local tool. So I just need to get an idea if it's something I even want to pursue much closer.
So this program is $129 per month per person. Okay. So if you want to even do the math simply, you're looking at $129. You have 10 sales reps. You said. So you're looking at an investment of $1,290 a month. One customer a week, $2,000. So we multiply that times 10, $15,000. Let's say each sales rep, let's say they're going to add $2,000, times that by 12. I mean, you're looking at $240,000 to an investment of $15,000. ROI, it's through the roof. Right. So can you see how that number could help you pay off in the end?
Yeah, it looks good. One of the fears I have at Oracle is that when you work with a larger company, I'm a real small business, so how do you? One thing that they're really strong on is data security and the whole platform and all that. So having dealt with them in the past, I know about that. So help me understand. If I give you and outsource my data and my whole system, then help me. How do I feel real comfortable about that? Is it a strength for your company?
Security is obviously an issue. I mean, we don't want to put our documents or any of our customers in jeopardy. And our security, have you ever used online banking, ATM machines? We use the same type of encryption that Chase Bank does, all of Bank of America. So companies that are huge corporations using online banking, 128 gigabytes is what we use for our security.
Have you ever had a breach of technology?
99.9% fine, never a problem. And we also serve our same software the same place the government does. So that way it's protected.
Okay, very interesting.
So Wendell, can I make a recommendation for you?
Okay.
We saw the ROI, potentially could save your business $220,000. I just talked about, one of the businesses that I worked with, they obviously saw ROI of 25%. Would you be interested in, purchasing 11 of these products right now, helping your business improve, and really see an investment for the future?
Well, honestly, I'm probably not to that decision point yet. I still have another appointment with this other company. I have gone down the road 90 days with Oracle, and I kind of have everything tied off, so I have their proposal tightened up. I'd probably look at, maybe taking your numbers, extrapolate those out in today's numbers, and then I just want to make sure, because I know there's some implementation fees, and some of the companies I'm dealing with, there's travel and things like that are all part of this. So I just want to make sure, probably before we go much further, is look at that. And I have a couple of sales reps here locally that would probably be interested in talking to you about that. So I think that's maybe a next step, is having somebody else in the organization that would be more hands-on with this, give you a little better evaluation, and kind of lay these side by side. Let's just look at the advantages of both of these, see what we can do moving forward.
So you're concerned about a lot of things, and a lot of companies have that. So how about this? Can we each make 2 go-forward commitments that we'll both possibly do a lot of research, and then come back in 1 week from today, 1 o'clock? Does that work for you?
Well, it will depend on how soon I can get those people together, but definitely
Okay.
I'll work with my assistant out there and see what we can do to get those resources together. Now, are you
Okay.
local? Are you?
I'm available to travel. I actually do live here in the Atlanta region, so I can
Okay.